brand new updates for the Predator, from a revamped chart trader panel with added stop management options, to adding some more options for your manual order entry buttons as well. This can help you customize your order to exactly how you need it and help you enter as fast as possible. And as a bonus, you can now attach your manual entry line to an existing indicator or even trail your stop based on any indicator plot on the chart. There's a lot to go over, so let's get right into it. Alright, for the first update here, you may have noticed we no longer have the NinjaTrader buttons. These buttons in general interfere with any strategy. So really, when using any strategy, they should be avoided anyways. But now we hit them to make a little bit more room for the new updates. The only button left is the emergency close only. This is going to be exactly the same as your regular close button. We just changed the text so it makes a little more sense, just to make sure users only use it in case there's an emergency. But for the most part, if you're in a trade and you want to exit, make sure you use the flat null or the close button. These will exit you out without causing issues with the Predator. But in case something does happen, just know you do have that button left over, but that will shut down this or any strategy that you use it with. So keep that in mind, only use it for emergencies. But in the case that you still want to see your regular buttons, don't worry, you still have that option. If we move right into the properties and scroll down to your control section, we've added a few options here. You can hide your NinjaTrader default buttons, and you can even hide your bid and ask labels. That is these ones up here. So if we click on those, that will hide it and give you a little bit more room to work with. So really configure it to however you want. If you have the room, you don't have to hide anything. But if you're like me and have limited space on your chart trader panel, then you have those options. Alright, next update are the stop management buttons. And these will go hand in hand with the new properties. Let's go over those and we'll come back to these in just a minute. So let's go right into the properties. And inside the properties, you're going to have options to customize your buttons. Don't worry, you can customize these right within the chart trader panel itself, so you don't actually have to do anything in here. But what I want to mention is if we scroll down to our new order management section, there are a few key changes with this update. In order to show this new chart trader panel, we need all of our stop order management to be in sync. And what that means is all of our initial stop orders, any possible auto break-evens or trail stops are all going to be placed at the same level. In order to ensure our orders are in sync, there are two different ways we can do this. The first one, at the very top of your order management section, just make sure the sync stop management is selected. And the second way we can do this is by going to our order quantity calculate. If you were to select an automatic quantity, this is also going to automatically sync up your trades and ensure everything is placed at the same level. All right, so your stop management is in sync. What does this mean? It means regardless of how many targets you have, 1, 2, or 3, all of your stop loss orders are going to be the same. All of your break evens are going to be the same. And all of your trail stops are going to be the same. And this is going to make it a lot easier for probably 99% of the users. Now you just have to type in your order management once instead of having to type it out once for each separate target. So it will end up saving a lot of you a lot of time. But don't worry if you're one of the few that like the old method and want to have different trail stops, different management for each separate target. Don't worry, we're not losing functionality. All you have to do is make sure you're in custom quantity, unselect the sync stop management, and you're going to go back to the original way of setting up your orders. You can have different stops, break evens, trail stops for each separate target. So none of that changes. We're just upgrading a few things to make it easier for a large majority of the users. As for the updated order management, I'm not going to go through every single functionality. All of the functions still remain pretty much the same. Please make sure you watch this video to understand how some of these functions work, but I'm just going to quickly go over it so we can understand how it works. So at the top here, you have your order entry type. This is just how you want to enter an order, whether it's a market order or a limit order, you have that option. I think for most people to enter quickly is going to be market. Then you have your order quantity calculate. This is just how many contracts you're going to enter with. You'll see order quantity 1 is for your first target. If we were to add a second target, you will now see order quantity 2 and however many contracts you want to enter. So depending on how many targets you have, that's how many options you're going to see up here. Each one of these will be for each separate target. So target 1, 2, and 3. If you change this to automatic quantity, it's the same thing. You get your risk per trade, your max position size, the percentage you want to allocate, and it all depends on how many targets you have. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on this. There are other videos that go over this much better. But moving on, we have our stop loss type. Again, whatever we select here is going to be applied to all of your different profit targets. So if you have different targets, let's say 25, 50, 75 ticks, they're all going to have the same 30 tick stop. If you change it to high-low, they're all going to be set at the high or the low of the previous candles, depending if you're long or short. Same with your break-even type. By default, it's just a manual break-even. That means you have a button that you push and it moves your stop to the break-even. If you want to set an automatic break-even, you could, again, set break-even ticks. This means that after 20 ticks, all of your stop orders are going to move up to break-even once this is hit. So again, we're in sync. Everything is moving all at the same time. And the exact same thing applies to your trail stop. Whatever trail stop we select here is going to apply to all of your targets. I know before we had to set a different trail stop for each one of your targets. You no longer have to do that. We made it a lot easier in this version. And for the last option, your target section looks a little bit different, but it's the exact same concept. If you just want one single profit target, make sure you select target 1, set this to whatever you want. In order to submit an order, these must be selected. So target 1, again, you can choose whatever size target you want. These are obviously not going to be in sync because you'll have different profit targets as your price moves up. If you only have one target, just select target 1. If you want 2 profit targets, you can just select this and select your desired profit target on that second target. Now, one thing to keep in mind is I know a lot of you guys like to have runners without profit targets. If you want to have that, make sure you do select the target. You just have to go down to the profit target type and select no profit target. This is going to ensure you enter the order, but it does not set that final profit target. But you will still have that stop trailing up. So that's only if you do not want to see that final profit, but still want that runner. But for this example, I'm just going to load a target so we can see it on the chart. And now that we understand how the sync stop order management works, let's go back into our chart trader panel and go over these stop order buttons. All right, for the stop management buttons, let's first enter a trade and see how they work. So I'm just going to quickly adjust some of these lines. And don't worry, we're going to go over these buttons up here as well in just a little bit. But for now, let's just take a look at the stop buttons. First, you have your stop minus and your stop plus. These are going to be very straightforward. They're just going to go away from profit or move your stop into profit. Now, if you need to adjust even more, maybe one tick is not moving your stop fast enough, you need 5, 6, 7, 8 ticks, whatever it is, you can just go to the side of each one of these buttons and you can go up or down in value. So this one, I'm going to set it at 8 and my stop plus, I will set it at 4. So that means when I push it, it's going to move 4 ticks up or 1 point. So anytime I push it, and then when I push the minus, it's going to bring it down 8 ticks or 2 points. So that's all it is. It's just a way to move your stop up and down quickly. And it works similar in a short trade. The only thing to keep in mind with this, guys, is a stop minus doesn't mean it's going to bring your stop down at any time. It just means it's going to move your stop away from profit. A stop loss is always going to move your stop into profit. So whether you're long or short, stop plus brings it down into profit, stop minus takes it away from profit. So it will automatically adjust whether you're long or you're short. So again, stop minus away, stop plus into. But now let's move on to our stop 50%. And what this does is it's just going to take the most current price, your stop price, and it's going to move your stop up depending on the percentage here. So for an example, we have our current price is right here. We have our stop price right here. So 50% I think would be about there, give or take. So when I push the stop 50%, it's just going to bring it up 50% to the most current price. So I was off just a little bit. I could have done the math, but this is a lot faster. So if you push it again, it's just going to bring it up another 50% between your most current price and your stop price. So again, I push it again, another 50%, another 50, whatever you have this set to. And of course, you can adjust this right within the chart trader panel as well. So if you want to move, just say 10% at a time, you can do that as well. Or the max you can do is 95% if you really want to get up to that price. When you push it, it's just going to close that distance a lot faster. So that's all it is. It's just a way to manually move your stop up without having to physically grab your stop and move it up yourself. This is going to make your life, especially those who are scalping, this is going to make it a lot easier for a lot of you guys. I know this has been requested a million times, so it's finally here. The next button here is your break even button. In the previous versions, or if you're not synced with your stop management, you will have 3 different break even options when you enter a trade. Now everything is in sync, you only need one button. I know this was causing a lot of confusion with the old panels, so one button, that's all you need. So again, when you push it, it's only going to bring it up to break even if you have room to move up. In this case, our price is right at break even. Moving our stop up would cause an error. It's not going to allow you to do that. So I think if we play this, hopefully I set it to a time we are going into profit. If not, I might have to adjust, but let's just play it. No, let me adjust this a little bit. All right, so here I found a little bit better spot. Again, I'm just on playback to show these examples, but basically your break even, when you have enough distance to go to break even, you can just push it. It's going to move all of your stop orders up to that break even. And you can also adjust the offset now right within the chart trader panel. So you have your minus over here. So -5 is just going to bring it to break even, -5 ticks. So that's all it is. If you want to secure a little bit more profit, so +3, you can just push that. It's going to go to break even, +3 ticks. And of course, if you have an auto break even selected within the properties, this will automatically move your stops up as well, according to your offset. So pretty basic stuff. It's just a break even button, but now it applies to all of your stop orders. And that brings us over to our trail stop button. And this one, I've had a lot of requests to be able to adjust it within the chart trader panel. Now we have that option. So if we look at our trail stop selector, you have all of your options for each one of the trail stops that are built into the Predator. So if you want a high-low, you can just select that from the trail stop. And if you want to manually activate your trail stop, just push the button. It will turn yellow. Once this price starts moving, it's going to automatically start trailing the low of each new candle. Now, let's say you want ATR. Again, just start playing the chart, click the button. Once the price moves, it's going to automatically start trailing. And you can do that for any one of these trail stop options. Just keep in mind for things like the parabolic SAR and super trend, it is going to follow that same values as the actual indicators. You're just not going to be able to see them on the chart unless you load them ahead of time. They need to be loaded while the strategy is first starting up. So they will work, you just won't be able to see them unless you select them beforehand. But with trail stops, now we have another option. This one was requested quite a bit. But let's close down the strategy and load up a third-party indicator. This can be anything that's attached to your main chart, any third-party indicator with a plot. So if you can use your indicator on Strategy Builder, for the most part, you should be able to use it with the Predator. So very popular one. Let's load up a Ninja Super Trend. And we'll load something else up. Let's say maybe the prior day open, high, low, close. Let's yeah, we'll leave all of them open. But once you have these indicators loaded, you can just enable the Predator. It's going to read any plot that's on the chart. And if you want to automatically set your trail stop to any of those values, you're going to have those options within that trail stop selector. So if you want to set it to the super trend that we just said, or prior day open, high, low, close, any plot that you load on the chart, for the most part, you should be able to attach a trail stop order. So I'm just going to do the super trend. I'm going to set my stop up here, and I'm just going to enter short. Now, once it's selected, you can just push the trail stop button, and it's automatically going to move your stop to that super trend. So let me speed this up a little bit. And we'll zoom in just so we can see it a little bit better. All right, we had an automatic break even. So that's what happened there. But let's just move that back. And now that our price is moving, it should start trailing now. I'll remove that automatic break even just so we can see these trails a little bit better. So let's change that back to manual. And the only thing to keep in mind with these third-party trail stops is they're only going to work in real time. Unfortunately, we can't really backtest with them because we need to read the values in that real time. So you can only select it once everything is loaded. I may have some solutions for the future, but for now, guys, just works in real time. So again, I'm just going to enter a long order here, set my stop underneath, and start trailing my stop. So every new bar, as that trail is going up, our stop is moving along with the indicator. So that's all there is to these trail stops. You're just able to attach it to a lot more options now. And now with that, let's move on to our manual order entry buttons. All right, the last part, the manual order entry buttons. These have caused quite a bit of confusion in the past. I'm hoping I can clear this up in this video. We cleaned up a lot of the properties, made it look a little bit nicer, and added some more functionalities. So for the first update is the enter long and enter short. In the past, you needed to wait for a price change in order to calculate and enter a trade. Now, as soon as you push it, it's going to submit that order. It's going to make things quite a bit faster. So that applies to the long or the short. It's going to automatically submit that order depending on how you have that stop and targets set up in the order management section. And again, whether you're using the manual order entries or you're building out your bot with an auto entry, everything is managed by that same order management section. And another thing a lot of you guys brought up was the ability to set your stop manually and then just click on the enter long, enter short buttons in order to quickly set your order and your stop at any given price without having to wait until the price comes up to that high or low of the candle. So what we can do now is you can set your entry lines. That is going to be that little eyeball next to the buy high. These lines are not going to submit an order by themselves. If the price touches it, nothing's going to happen. That is until you actually activate it by clicking the buy high. The eyeball is just the lines, and they're going to help you set where you want your stop. So let's say I don't want my line up here. I want to go to the bottom of this pivot. Now, if you were to click the buy high, once the price touches this line, it's going to submit that order. But if you just want to get in right away, just click that enter long. It's going to set your stop where that line was. That way, you're not messing around anymore. It's just a much faster process. Now, one thing I do want to touch on when it comes to these entry lines is if you go down to your order quantity calculate and you have the automatic quantity selected, we are going to be able to automatically calculate our position size much faster. So let's enable that. So again, you can just click. Now, when we load our entry lines, you're going to see your order quantity and your entry line price, stop line price. As you move your stop line or your entry line, you're going to see that order quantity automatically calculate. So if we were to move it down to the bottom of this level, you're going to have an order quantity of 8. Now, this is mainly if you use that buy high button, but just keep in mind, if you use the enter long button with the automatic quantity, this is going to be the quantity it will enter with. It's not going to automatically adjust to any new price once the lines are set. So if I was to enter long, it's going to enter long at those 8 contracts, but at the current price, not the high like we said before. So again, it's more attached to the lines than it was before. So keep that in mind. If you just want to enter quickly and not be attached to the lines, don't select the lines, just hit enter long, and it's going to automatically calculate that position size based on the most current price and your stop size. So again, if you just want to enter quickly based on the most current price, don't use the lines. But if you want a little bit more control, you can use the lines. And this works just the same for your short entries. We changed the colors so you can see them a little bit better if you were to have both of them on the chart. But it's the same thing. You can adjust your stop and it's going to automatically calculate that position size. You can bring it up here wherever you want. Enter short and it's going to get you right into that trade. Automatically set your stop and position size. Alright, now we're going to talk about the entry lines and some of the new functions. The purpose of your entry lines is to quickly set your entry and your stop points. Then when the price touches your line, that's when you enter a trade. And your line selector, that is what's going to dictate where your entry lines are set. For 99% of you guys out there, the buy high and sell low is going to be the go-to option. It just means when you're going long, it's going to set your entry line at the high of the candle selected. And when you're going short, it's going to set your entry line at the low of the candle selected. Then when the price touches that entry line, it's going to submit your order. Then you also have the buy close and the buy open. Both of these are very similar in how they function. And guys, I get this a lot. These have nothing to do with when a bar actually opens or closes. This is just going to submit your line for the longs at the highest opening price of the candle selected. So in this case, this was the highest opening price of these bars selected. Or sorry, this was the highest close of the bar selected. So right here, this is the highest close. And then for the short side, we have the lowest closing price of the bar selected. So in this case, this is the lowest close because it's under this one and this one. So that is our short entry point. Same thing with the open, it just finds the lowest opening price versus the highest opening price for the longs. Then a highly requested feature, we have the buy low and sell high, which is similar to the buy high, sell low, but it's just going to flip everything around. When we set our entry lines, it's going to submit your long entry line at the bottom of the candle. So it's going to wait for a pullback. Once the price pulls back to this line, that's when it's going to submit your order. Sell high, complete opposite. It's waiting for that pull back up to that highest point, and then it submits your short entry order. And yes, much like the trail stops, we have options to trail any indicator plot that we have on the chart. They should work for most indicators out there. Not everything's coded the same, but a good portion of these indicators are going to be. So for example, here I use the Ninja Super Trend. So it's just going to set my entry line right at this super trend line that we have down here. Then for the short, again, my short order is going to be down here. And just because of how I have my stop based on the candle range, it's actually going to submit my stop order up here. So the best way to learn how these work is to just play around with them. Load it up on a playback, load it up on a sim, mess around with it, see where it's setting your entry lines and when it's triggering. Just one thing to keep in mind, the little eyeball I'm using right here, that is just to show the lines themselves. They're not actually going to make your order live. To make that order live, you must click the buy indicator, sell indicator, or the button next to the eyeball, depending on what selector you have. Once it's highlighted, then when the price touches it, it's going to submit that order. I do have another video on exactly how these work. I am going to make another updated version very soon. I just don't want to make this video too long, or I feel like we lose a lot of this information. So I'd rather make smaller videos to get to the point, and I'm going to have more specific ones to this system very soon. But with that, I just want to go over these new checkboxes so we get an idea of how this works. Let's say we have a buy high and sell low. Traditionally, when you submit your order, it's once the price touches that line, then it's going to submit that order. So if you were to move your line, let's say there, it's going to submit that order because we have it live. But what happens is if we want to keep that order live on that same bar where we initially submitted it, just leave everything blank. And as more bars get created, it's just going to keep that order at that same exact spot. Now, this might be perfectly fine for a lot of you, but I know some of you guys want to keep updating your lines for each new bar. So that is exactly what this option does. On the close of every bar, so BC bar close, it's just going to resubmit those lines to the updated values. So let's just hit play. And once this bar closes, let me speed this up just a little bit, it's going to move your lines to that new value. Order submitted. All right, so what happened is the bar closed, the values updated to the highest point of the two candles selected. So it would have been right at the open. It set your stop right at the low of the new candle. So that's down here. And then it crossed above that line. It entered us into our trade. So that's good and all. It's just going to keep updating your lines until the order gets triggered. Now let's go through another scenario. I'm going to unselect the update lines. I am going to submit again another order. Just right here is fine. And now I'm going to go to the on bar close. This just means that it's going to wait until the bar closes. And in this case, it's going to have to close above our entry line. And then it will submit our order. If it goes above, comes back and closes below, no order. So let's submit this. And yes, you can see it's hitting our line. It hasn't submitted any order. And here it touched the line, came back down, no order. Same thing here, we're went above, closing down. We'll see if this one closes. If not, I'll bring the line down just so we can see it. Or maybe we'll get a red candle now. All right, let me speed this up just a bit. We're getting some red candles. And again, if you want to keep trailing this, you can update the lines. And it's just going to trail for each new candle. And let's see if we get one that actually closes above. All right, let's do a sell low order because apparently we're just going down. So here, when it closes below this line, it's going to submit our order. I'll move this up. All right, so there we closed below the line. Price got us a bad fill. That's why it kind of looks like that. Let's see if we get a better example here. All right, so here the price closed above and it entered us long. So it's just a way to wait until the bar closes above below our entry lines. Now, you also get a new feature called buy up, sell down. This option used to be called arm trades. It's the exact same thing, but I think this name makes a lot more sense. It just basically means that it's only going to enter long if the bar closes up, so it's a green bullish bar, and it's only going to enter short if it's a red bearish bar. So let's submit that. And actually, let me do a short order. And I'm going to bring my entry line up here. So traditionally, if you're just using regular on bar close, once this bar closes, below this line, it should enter. But because we had the buy up, sell down feature, and it was a green bar, it's not going to enter. So it's only going to enter once we get a red bar, a down bar, that closes below this entry line. So let's move all of this up here. I'm just going to keep my orders live until we get that red candle. And speed this up a little bit. So once, if this bar closes red, or maybe not. Apparently we're getting all the green candles today. So we are just waiting for a red candle to close below this line. All right, there we finally got a red candle. And because it closed below our entry line, it submitted an order and set our stop where we had our stop set. It's just a way to make sure you're only entering long if the bar closes up, or you're only entering short if the bar closes down. But you are not limited to only using the entry lines with this. These will actually work with the enter long and enter short. So you can just push one button and it's automatically going to look for that trade. So for example, I'm just going to push enter long here. And it's not going to enter long until we get a green candle. So notice I do not have the lines on the chart. It's just automatically keeping track, and it's going to set my entry and my stop according to my rules in the management section. So once that one closed green, because of the buy up, sell down, that's when it submitted that order. And if you just want a regular on bar close, like you just want to submit any order when the bar closes, you can do that as well. Just unselect the buy up, sell down, select the on bar close, and then it doesn't matter which way the candle closes. It's just going to enter whatever you have set in there. And for the last option is the breakout option. And this was specially made for the enter long and enter short buttons. What this means is you don't even have to set the lines on the chart. You can just have this selected, push your enter long, and then as soon as it breaks above the previous bar's high, it's going to enter long. With only the breakout checked, it's going to submit immediately when it breaks above the high of that previous candle. You can also combo it with the on bar close, buy up, sell down. That is completely up to you. But with on bar close, it's going to wait until the bar closes above that high. And I did not push the button, so that example went out the window. Let's show another. So here, even if it hits the high, it's not going to enter until we actually close above, and now it should enter on this one. And that's how that works. You don't even have to set the lines, just quickly use the enter long, enter short buttons, and it's going to do that hard work for you. So I hope you guys found this video useful. I am going to make a lot more videos going into depth with these new features, and there are a lot of new things coming very, very soon. But if you guys have any comments, suggestions, or questions in general, let me know on Discord. Let me know in the comments down below. I try and get back to as many people as possible, but I'm going to cut the video here. As always, take care. Enjoy.